Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Last week I was visiting Toronto. There is a center in Toronto and they are celebrating their Golden Jubilee. So they are inviting different Swamis to speak, having a retreat. So in that way I was also invited and I had the opportunity of having to be there. And Toronto this year is also important for us, because this year they are going to have one Parliament of Religion. Parliament of Religion was started in 1893 and then centenary was celebrated in 1993, and since then every 4 years they are celebrating Parliament of Religion in different cities of the world. But very recently, that means the recent one is after 3 years, that means instead of 4-year gap, they have reduced the gap to 3 years. Probably there is a good demand for people to learn about other religions more. That may be one of the causes. So religion, the word religion, sometimes we feel has become a little bit hackneyed nowadays. That means people do not like to listen to this word religion. Probably they like to listen to the word spirituality more. So in that way there is a trend that some people say, especially amongst the young generation, that I am spiritual but not religious. So it is a sort of stigma that has come to religion. But if we look to a religion, there is definitely negative side in religion that I shall come to tell you. But also there is extensive, enormous amount of positive side of religion. Other than religion itself, that means the following, if you call it, other than that also religion has contributed to our civilization in the field of art, architecture, literature, and in many other fields enormously. And nowadays, of course, it has become a good source of tourism also, because now people go to the big places, big churches, say Vatican. So people go just like a tourist. Because in ancient times, not ancient times, in the past days, great artists, great sculptors had done so enormous amount of reputed works that people go in thousands to see those things. So it is a great contribution of religion in one way, you can say. And in the other way also, religion, as we know, even today, when you open the newspaper, you will see that there are many conflicts, there are many wars that are being waged in the name of religion. So Swami Vivekananda has said in one place that religion, that means religion gave highest and noblest things, and also religion has created most diabolic hatred that we see when we look at the history. But there is if you look to the bottom line of this aspect, negative aspect of religion, we see that there is certain reason why religion has been used for the purpose of propagation of hatred, if you call it. And that is not new. It was there and it was discovered, or it was said by others also, but now it has been studied why religion is so much why religion has spread so much negative things. So let me see how Swami Vivekananda first discovered. Probably some other person also might have said in this line, but Swami Vivekananda has definitely, emphatically said that for the diabolic work that is passed in the name of religion, for that religion is not at all responsible. It may be a what is called piece of news to you, but he has emphatically said. So let me quote what he has said. Now, in my little experience, I have collected this knowledge that in spite of all the devilry that religion is blamed with, religion is not at all in fault. So this is a very strong statement. We always feel that religion has done so much diabolic work, it is doing these things, and he is saying that religion is not at fault. No religion ever persecuted men. No religion ever burned witches. No religion ever did any of these things. What then incited people to do these things? Then he is giving the answer. Posing this question, he is giving the answer. Politics, but never religion. If such politics takes the name of religion, whose fault is that? So behind this diabolic work of religion, politics entered into religion, or religion as such got involved in politics, and in that way this diabolic work has been done. And it is, I am saying this was in one of his lectures, Swami Vivekananda said this in 1900. This was in Pasadena, when he spoke about great teachers of the world. Now you see, research have been done about these religious wars and all those things, and we'll find that researchers also have found out, all that they have studied, in the history there are many wars, and in the name of wars, in the name of religion, wars have been fought. So they have studied them, and they have come out that what Swami Vivekananda has said about 100 years ago is really true. So the finding is like this. The religious war or holy war, a war primarily caused or justified by differences in religion. In the modern period, debates are common over the extent to which religious, economic, ethnic aspects of a conflict predominate in given war. So when a war is waged, so naturally those who are thinkers or those researchers will try to find out why this war has come being waged. So in that way they studied all the wars throughout the history. So according to the one book, the name of the book is Encyclopedia of Wars. Out of all 1,763 known or recorded historical conflicts, 123 or 6.98% has religion as their primary cause. And of that percentage, 66 or 53.66 are related to Islam. So you can see how insignificant amount of conflict has been was initiated by religion. So the point is that in the name of religion, wars are fought, but the religion is in the forefront. Probably it is a sort of, if we call it in today's term, propaganda or whatever it may be, but the cause behind this type of war, there are certain other cause. That is the important part. So continuing to say, according to Steven Pinker, religion accounts, he is the compiler of that encyclopedia, I believe. According to Steven Pinker, religion accounts for 13 out of 100 of the world's worst atrocities in the history from the great big book of horrible things. That is another book where this writer has concluded that only 30 out of, and that means 30% of the conflicts can be attributed to have originated from religion. In several conflicts, including the Israeli-Palestine, Palestinian conflict, the Syrian civil war, and the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, religious elements are overtly present but variously described as fundamentalism or religious extremism, depending upon the observer's sympathies. That is the point. Who is giving the opinion? The cause of the war is really shaded according to the idea of the observer. However, studies of these cases often conclude that ethnic animosities drive much of the conflicts. So the point is this, ultimately the conclusion is that most of the wars that are waged in the name of this religion is nothing but ethnic conflicts. That means ethnic animosity. Now another paragraph is there. Historians argue that what is termed religious wars is a largely Western dichotomy and a modern invention, arguing that all wars are classed as religious have secular ramifications. Since the very concept of religion is a modern invention, the term religious war does not apply to most wars in history. Similar opinions were expressed as early as in 1760s during the 7 Years' War, widely recognized to be religious in motivation. Nothing that the warring factions were not necessarily split along confessional lines as much as along secular interests. That means wars are waged because certain other reasons, but it is given for popularity or for support the name that it is a religious war. That means it is being fought in the name of religion. But behind that the causes are really different. So there is another opinion. According to Jeffrey Barton Russell, numerous cases of supposed acts of religious wars, such as the 30 Years' War, the French Wars of Religion, the Sri Lankan Civil War, 9/11, and other terrorist attacks, the Bosnian War, and the Rwandan Civil War, were all primarily motivated by social, political, and economic issues rather than religion. So this is a finding of what is called researchers. That means they have waged, I believe, I have not gone through the books as such, but I got this opinion from elsewhere. But the point is that these wars have been studied, and when we say that wars have these diabolic dimensions, that is not really true. These dimensions have come from these other causes. So the point is that we need not give up study of religion. That is the point, because it is not really doing good if you think. So behind this ill reputation of religion, there is certain other points. Now coming to the word religion. Religion has three aspects. All of us know that religion has got one aspect which is known as philosophy. And then there is mythology and there is ritual in the practice. That means religion as is practiced here or elsewhere, or the persons who follow religion, they have certain things that they do, or certain things that they study, or certain things that they believe. So in that way, there are three dimensions. There are distinct dimensions that they are in a religion. So first is that philosophy. Philosophy means intellectuals, after studying religion or by studying the lives of the great spiritual personalities who actually established religion. Religion is established in two ways. One is that by a person who had the sort of revelation. That means he had experienced something which is not common for everybody. And in that way, out of that revelation, he started preaching something. And then the followers came, and in that way, the religion is established. Jesus Christ, as you know, Muhammad, as you know, Buddha, as you know, they all had experienced some sort of super sensual revelations. And out of that, actually, they propagated for the benefit of humanity. They thought that people will benefit out of their experience. So in that way, they established their religion. And afterwards, actually, when they had done this, people came and studied them. how actually it fits into the reason, then actually philosophies were established or came into existence. Then there is mythology also. Mythological aspect is that legends related to men, supernatural beings and all those things are also a part of religion. Stories in the life of Jesus Christ, you will see that there are many stories about his healing. In the life of Lord Buddha, you will see that there are many stories about his past lives. That means he could remember about 500 past lives. In the life of Lord Krishna and others also, you will find there are certain stories and legends. They are collected and they ultimately form the portion which is legend. That is a part of the propagation of religion. People are attracted by the stories and incidents, which of course come down after a long time. There must be some distortions or whatever it might be. But definitely the bottom line, the teaching remains. That means teaching remains intact. So these legends or mythologies are very helpful in convincing oneself about the bottom line of spirituality, or what needs to be done and what is the result of a particular practice, all those things that are illustrated there. Then there is a ritual. Ritual has come down in this way. That means that in ancient times, Jesus Christ or Buddha, they did practice spirituality. That means they did some practices, and in that way they achieved something or had the experience. So they told that I have this experience, and if you do this practice, you will also have that same type of experience. And that has come down as a ritual. In Buddha's case, Buddha was very simple in a sense. In his teachings, he was very simple. And he said that, well, I am Buddha. That means I have the highest realization by this practice of meditation or by practice of these disciplines. And it is not only true for me. Anybody who will practice this will have this type of experience. So his practices that were translated or followed by the followers, that become a ritual. And that is true for all the great spiritual personalities. That means in that way, rituals have come down. For ordinary folks, that they also did practice, and in that way they found that, yes, I have also spiritual experience, I did certain such things, and in that way they established their rituals. So their followers also follow that type of rituals with the expectation that they will have the experiences. So these are the three things that we find that that is for every religion they are there. Now the point is this, that because the philosophy has come down from a certain person, because the mythologies are related to certain areas of, that means world is vast area, especially in ancient times there is no communication between the different parts of the world. So naturally local stories or local incidents or local environment also influence the stories that were common there. So in that way we see philosophy, religion, philosophy, then mythology and ritual. These three categories, these three aspects of religion are different from each other. So in Hinduism, certain type of mythologies, there are certain type of philosophies, there are certain type of rituals are there. Islam also has got, Buddhism also has got, and Christianity also has got. So now point is that how to harmonize that. They are so different apparently, so how to harmonize them? That means is there any possibility of harmonizing them? That means whether certain aspects, philosophy of Christianity can be harmonized with the philosophy of Islam or Hinduism, or the mythology of what is called Christianity can be combined or can be equated with Islamic mythology or Hindu mythology. That type of question comes to our mind. It is as the thinkers say, that it is not really possible to harmonize them. It is not, because they are very local. Locally, what is called produced, local produce equals in that way. They are very different from each other. Even the languages. In ancient times, Latin, Hebrew and all those things, the language that was there, and Sanskrit was here, or Persian language was there. There is no common basis for that. So there will always be difference between philosophy, mythology and ritual and the religion. So in that way, we see that if somebody tries to figure out tries to find out a bottom line, as it is called, from these religions, and then say that, oh, this is the common bottom line, so let us follow all these things, and in that way we shall be equal, or we can harmonize ourselves. That will fail. That is the point. It is not possible to harmonize religions from the point of view of philosophy, mythology, and rituals. Swami Vivekananda also has said in that line, because he was a great thinker and he has given much thoughts, and in that way he had expressed his opinion, because he came to the parliament of religion also. So in one place he has said, man has an idea that there can be only one religion, that there can be only one prophet, and that there can be only one incarnation, but that idea is not true. If you say that this will be accepted by everybody, because these are the good, you feel that that is good and it is practicable for you, but it may not be practicable for others. That is the point. By studying the lives of all these messengers, we find that each, as it were, was destined to play a part, and a part only, that the harmony consists in the sum total and not in one note. So they were relevant for their age, relevant for their own place, and relevant for their what is called for the situation and circumstances. So naturally that will differ from place to place, time to time. So there is no possibility of harmonizing religion in that way that we see that he has said. Now, how to harmonize? That harmonization actually also another aspect of this difficulty is that we are different. That means all human beings are human beings are not created equal. That means as a race or as a being, a creature, actually we may be same. But definitely from the point of view of individuality, we are really very much individual. That means we have different brain, we have different body, different type of what is called appearance. Not only that, language, food, so much, everything is different for us. So in that case also it will be difficult. Not only difficult, it will be a failure if we impose one thing to everybody. That is the point. One coat will not fit everybody. That is the point. In that way, he has emphasized. So what should be the basis of harmonization, or what we will call a sort of, if we want to establish or call something which is universal religion, what will be that? So Swami Vivekananda has given a good suggestion. He has said in our scriptures, it has been said, Lord Krishna has said, it is actually in Bhagavad Gita, Matta paradaram nannat kinchidasti dhananjaya moi sarmidam protam sutre maniganayo. That means inside everybody, spirituality, or the spirit, if you call it, that means the spiritual aspect is really flowing. That means each individual has got that what is called aspect of spirituality within oneself. And Lord Krishna identifying himself with that, he is saying that I am that entity who is passing through everybody. That means I am inside everybody in that way. Sutre monigana ivo. Monigana means, that means jewels or beads, if you call it, simple things. And inside the beads there is a thread. And in that thread actually, thread is passing through that, and in that way actually the garland is made. So humanity as such, or even other creatures also, we are limiting to humanity because we are concerned with religion, which is very higher thing. So in that way, one aspect is common to everybody, which is known as spirituality. So he said, Sutre Monigana Ivo. In fact, there is a word called Sutratma. Sutratma is a technical word in our Upanishads, which is the concept, the spiritual, that means spiritual aspect of everybody is the connection which is passing through everybody. So if I go to that, and then actually he is saying it will be possible to harmonize everybody in the what is called the spiritual field. So he is saying what I want to propagate is a religion that will be equally accepted to all minds. That is the question. That means how actually one thing will be acceptable to everybody. that as I told you, it has been told by others also, that means all the diversity is there. You cannot choose one item from the diversity and make common to everybody. It will not be possible. It will not be acceptable for anybody. Suppose food, certain food is acceptable or good or available also in a certain part of the world. So naturally that has become part of the religion. But that food is not available in other places. And certain food is available there and it is not available here. It may happen like that. So on the basis of food, if we call it, the religion, we can establish a common religion, it will fail. It will not be possible. So in the same way he is saying, Swami Vivekananda is saying, what I want to propagate is a religion that will be equally acceptable to all minds. It must be equally philosophical, equally emotional, equally mystic, and equally conducive to action. If professors from the colleges come, scientific men and physicists, they will quote reason. So he's saying according to the makeup of the mind, that means we have different mental conditions or mental makeup, that means tendencies if you call it. So we have different types of tendencies within ourselves. So it has been categorized, that means by observation it is possible to figure out what is the main tendencies in somebody's mind. Somebody, that Swami Vivekananda is saying that, well, when professors come, they have their mind is mostly in the realm of reason. In that way they look at things. So let them have, he is saying, if professors from the colleges come, scientific men and physicists, they will quote reason. Let them have it as much as they want. So there is the aspect of reason in religion, philosophy. So in philosophy is full of reasons. On the basis of reason actually philosophy stands. And in that way those who are philosophers, through reason they are trying to reach God. So in all religions there is a philosophical aspect. So let these persons who have this type of tendencies in their mind, they are fond of reasons, let them accept that aspect of religion. Then similarly, if the mystic comes, we must welcome him, be ready to give him the science of mental analysis and practically demonstrate it before him. Control of the mind, as it is said. That means by watching our mind, the spiritual personalities have said that we have gone beyond our mind. That is why we have realized this. So naturally, mind has been studied or mind has been controlled. In that way, actually, it has come. So he is saying those who are like that, that means who are mystic, that means be ready to give them science of mental analysis and practically demonstrate it before him. So there are aspects that has been delineated in all religions. That means by controlling mind, go to a secluded place, watch your mind, and in that way you will control your mind and be able to realize the heights, the spiritual experience. If emotional people come, we must sit, laugh and weep with them in the name of the Lord. So people think God is there, so in that way actually we have to worship, love, and what is called surrender ourselves, and in that way the attitude of emotion, that means for them emotion is very important and they like that to like to adore God in that way. So give them that aspect of the religion. In every religion it is there, so that aspect you give to them according to the liking, and that will help in their spiritual growth. And so he's saying, let me repeat this, and if emotional people come, we must sit, laugh and weep with them in the name of the Lord. We must drink the cup of love and become mad. So in the name of God, actually it is possible. There are many sects you will find in all the religions, that means they dance, love, sing, and in that way they enjoy the proximity of God. In that way they practice spirituality. Then if the energetic worker comes, we must work with him, with all the energy that we have. And this combination will be the ideal of the nearest approach to a universal religion. Worker, that means some people like to do work, charity as it is called. They want to build hospital, they want to help poor people, they want to do educational work. In that way they feel that they are helping poor and others, thinking that they are in their God is residing. That is possible, that in every religion this is their altruistic work as it is called. So give them that type of work. So that will be the common basis for this type of people of all religions. So summing up, Swami Vivekananda is saying, this combination will be the ideal of the nearest approach to a universal religion. Would to God that all men were so constituted that in their minds all these elements of philosophy, mysticism, emotion, and work were equally present in full. That is the ideal, my ideal of a perfect person. So this is actually, he says, that he knows actually, as he's saying, that it is not possible to harmonize all these four aspects, four attitudes in one person. That is very rare. But because it is rare that it will, the religion is not be practiced, that he is not saying, but he is saying that let the individuals practice according to their mental tendencies, and in that way actually they can progress spiritually. That is the ideal, my ideal of a perfect man. That means those who have these four tendencies together in their mind, they can really work on the four together. Everyone has only one or two of these elements of character. I consider only one. Excuse me. Everyone who has only one or two of these elements of character, I consider one-sided. And this world is almost full of such one-sided man. So this is also, we need to keep in mind that if you cannot make a perfect person with the four tendencies together, so we have to accept that. That means we have to know that this person is doing spiritual practice because he has this type of tendencies prominent in his mind, and definitely he will be acceptable because of his inclinations in that way. I consider one-sided, and this world is almost full of such one-sided men with knowledge of that one road only in which they move, and anything else is dangerous and horrible to them. To become harmoniously balanced in all these four directions is my ideal of religion. So Swami Vivekananda has propagated this. That is why we see that in his order, that means to which actually belong, he has made provision. Provision means even in the logo you will find that he has made provision for the practice of these four types of yogas, as it is called. Yogas mean path, or it is an expression of tendencies through which actually one can reach God. In that way he has said, and that is the ideal of a person. But he himself is saying that it is not possible for an ordinary person to combine together all these four paths. Is very rare. Now, in this way we see that these, starting from the war of religion and all those things, we see that religion actually, if we go to the level of spirit, actually there is a possibility of harmonizing the religion. That means there will be less tendency of disharmony. That is the point. And if religion is practiced according to one's own tendencies, then there is a possibility that everybody will have this religion. So if there is ever to be a universal religion, it must be one which will have no location in place or time. That means it is not like this, it will be in Mecca or in Palestine or in Varanasi. It is not like that. It should be in the mind of human beings. It will not have any location. That means a religion will be within oneself, which will be infinite like the God it will preach, which in its Catholicity will embrace in its infinite arms and find a place for every human being, from the lowest groveling savage, not far removed from the brute, to the highest man, towering by the virtues of his head and heart almost above humanity. So it will be universal in a sense, because tendencies are there in everybody. So everybody will have his own religion according to the tendencies. So whether in the social status or other areas, he may be quite different from each other. In locations also they will be spread out all over the world. But because the tendencies of the mind is there, he will have his own religion, and in that way he will become spiritual. So that is another aspect or benefit of this type of universal religion. So making society stand in awe of him, that means if ordinary person, if by following their own path, then elevates himself to the highest spiritual level, then people will admire him. That means it is not that only intellectuals or mystics and such other persons will gain the admiration, which will have no place for persecution or intolerance in its polity, which will recognize divinity in every man and woman, and whose whole scope, whose whole force will be centered in aid humanity to realize its own true divine nature. So that is the philosophy that Swami Vivekananda has throughout his life tried to inculcate within ourselves. That means divinity is within ourselves. It is a matter of discovery. Just first to believe. That means we cannot figure out that, well, how can we be divine? Even if without realizing divinity, if we say that I am divine, that will be a little bit difficult for us. That means people will think that this person has gone mad or whatever it may be. But the point is that this faith, that divinity is within ourselves, and there is a scope of its development. And the scope of development itself is a practice of spirituality. According to what is called scriptures, if we do it, or according to traditions, if we do it, then actually when we become spiritual, then actually there is a possibility that we can say that yes, we are practicing universal religion. We are really one in the realm of spirituality. So these are the aspects that we find that is available in us. So how to do that? That also in a simple way, Swami Vivekananda said, first recognize the maxim, do not destroy. That means if a person is doing spiritual, following spirituality, is belong to a religion, don't destroy. That means wherever he stands, start from there. That is the point. He says, first recognize the maxim, do not destroy. It has to be recognized that iconoclastic reforms will not help us towards this ideal of universality. That means if you destroy something, actually it is gone. Whatever that person has got, start from there. Don't say that what you are believing is wrong, that is not really correct, and you have to start from the scratch. That is very wrong. That means you have to recognize whatever actually a person has achieved or where he stands. That is the point. Secondly, take a man where he stands and from there give him a lead. Then actually you can figure out that means this person needs this thing or he will have ability to this. In that way, if he just really custom made, as it is called, his practice, then actually he will progress. Then he is saying, God is the center of the circle, forming the follower of all religions. Each religion is a radius traveling towards that center. That is a concept. That means God is there and he is inside everybody. So we are trying to reach God according to our own ability, because we have to travel the distance, discover ourselves or realize God. So in this spirit, that means we are in the what is called in the periphery, that means the circumference, and we need to proceed towards the center, and in that way we need to progress. And each one has his nature and line of growth. The duty of a teacher is only to remove the obstacles in the way of his growth, and also to provide him with a hedge of protection in the early period of growth. So if a person wants to progress in spirituality, he is saying that he will learn something from the what is called those who are really those who have progressed in spiritual or doing spiritual practices for a long time. So what will be the duty? They should not say that, well, you just follow me. That is not the way they should do. They should really see that this person who is really seeker, so all the obstacles that they face, how to overcome those obstacles, that they advise. And not only that, what is called give protection. That means they will say that, well, this is the obstruction that may come, you better take precaution. In that way they should guide them. So guidance, giving guidance is the only thing that they can give to the followers of a spiritual path. That is the point. A teacher must recognize this limited function of his and give up the idea that he can teach another and change his nature. This is a very important aspect of spirituality that is there. Sometimes we feel that by blindly following certain religion or certain teacher and certain guru, actually we become spiritual. That is not really true. It is not just an intellectual assent that makes a person spiritual. It is really practice that makes a person spiritual. There is a possibility of becoming spiritual by practice only. And a teacher or the leader of a spiritual group should admit means understand that he can only, his limitations he should understand. That is the point. That means he can really change a person altogether by asking him to follow him. So he can help him in the spiritual life by removing the obstacles. And also what is called giving precautions and other practices, how actually he can grow himself. That is the point. So this is the one way of realization of universal religion that Swami Vivekananda's lectures. His ideas are very interesting in a sense that, as I told you, now people are feeling, especially the young youngsters feeling they want to be spiritual but not religious, because of the stigma of religion is such as blind following. But if they are ready to do something, that means if they want to practice and in that way become spiritual, actually indirectly they are becoming a part of the religion they are following, that aspect of religion they are following. In that way we cannot say that they are not really religious, though they don't claim that they are religious, but definitely we should be sympathetic to them. That is the point, that they are really doing something which is not really altogether not religious, but a part of the religion that they are following.